All right, if you're here, hopefully you've already done the visualization that I posted yesterday, or basically the previous video to this one if it's in the future, which I hope it is, because then everything is already available for you to go right through and dive deep if you want to. So anything with this curtain in the background is part of that. I've now made a playlist so that you can go check out all the questions broken down day by day, delved into a bit deeper than we can do when we're properly feeling into the visualization of what we want. And yeah, ended up becoming more of a series than I intended, but it's because we went deep and I shared a lot of the nuance of what these questions have to teach us about ourselves with what we want in relation to what we want. Only you can look for yourself to see how that lands for you. What's in your way? What things that you want that you realize maybe aren't even yours. Like, it's not even something you want. You've just been told to want it. And you haven't realized maybe even that you've been told to want it. You just thought it's something you wanted. And now you're realizing, oh my God, that's not even something I actually want from my heart and soul, my core. This is a really good information to have. It might be kind of devastating if you've been working hard towards something. Like, I mean, this can be quite common when it comes to having a certain career path, like maybe pushed down your throat by well-intending parents, for instance. That's a common way this comes up for people. Their way of trying to love you in that moment, in those moments growing up, is saying, well, you have to get a good job and earn good money, otherwise it won't feel survivable to our system and this family system. And if you buy into wanting to be in love and belonging with your family and your family system and how things are done so that they look after you when you're younger, when everything is coded, then of course you're going to do your best to fit into that box that they've given you from a loving place. Even if, like, we don't all have good parents, I understand that. Even if they're someone that you know isn't good for you and you've cut them out of your life, or you keep it to a bare minimum, there's still some loving place that this is all coming from, even if it's a way they're only loving themselves, or perhaps there is other things involved that have had them let you down. Maybe you have loving parents, like that, and you feel the love and you feel great about your relationship with your parents. I just want to welcome all spectrums here and just view it with curiosity as to where can we find the love that was the in order to, that has us feeling like we need to show up in this way, fit into this box, fit into this mold with what somebody else wanted for us. And noticing that, and noticing if it's what you actually want to choose to do going forward. If it is still something you actually want. You, your true self, aligned with you, no one else, nothing else around you. No other communities, no other job, no other partner whatsoever. Like, no, you. Just what you want for your heart and soul. And we have to be willing to look internally to figure out that for ourselves with curiosity. So we get curiosity, just it invites us to do it without it being so scary. Curiosity is like my favorite thing on the planet because it means we're willing to play, we're willing to look. We don't need to take it all so seriously. It can be a really serious matter, and if we're willing to look at it with curiosity, that's where we get to make a shift. We get to, instead of, maybe our triggers will come up, but instead of going into our usual patterns from that trigger, with curiosity, we get to play with, well, what if it wasn't like this? What if this didn't trigger me? What if someone like me, that I loved, like my best friend, someone like me but not me, was to go for this? Would I be cheering them on? Would I think it's possible for them? and just like ways of dissociating it from ourselves and our map of ourselves and what we've coded to have us basically stay in love and belonging and thus survive in the world in whatever way the younger versions of ourselves decided that needed to happen. That's how we notice ways that we actually don't necessarily need to show up like again. We can notice a trigger, have a trigger that used to really get us going and just send us on a spiral, and we can actually just consciously notice it come up. Feel the need to go towards that trigger, that usual pattern. Think, this is when I'm supposed to invite in curiosity. Choose to do that. Well, what if I acted a different way right now? What if I, maybe you need to go out back, take a few deep breaths, exhaling longer than you inhale to tell your parasympathetic nervous system that you are safe. You're not actively running from a dangerous situation. And notice, could I choose to act differently and perhaps get a different outcome in this situation that feels similar to something that in the past has triggered me? And look, we're not going to do this perfectly. There'll be times we're fully in it and the trigger comes and we go straight into that action plan that our system has already set up for us, and we do it all, and we only in hindsight realize, oh, I just totally went through that pattern again. That's okay. It's just all good to notice. Now, I've gone off on a few tangents then, but they are worthy tangents. They are the juice that as to how we operate as human beings, how our brains work, and beyond, and beyond. I'm all about the and beyond, because the whole picture counts. All parts affect the whole. So today I actually ended up talking more about noticing the things that you don't want, that you've now noticed you don't want, maybe, or you're noticing that you don't want, instead of actually tuning in to what it is that you want, that you got into in this visualization. So let's get to that now. So but also it's perfect that it came up, that side of things came up, because again, all parts affect the whole. So if that shadowy, we don't want that, or somebody told us we should want that shadow side shows up for us in that way that it comes out, then it needs to be heard. It needs to be heard in order for us, and heard with that curiosity, for us to actually figure out how we can act differently, how we can overcome that block, that shadow, and unfold it into the light that is what our heart and our soul and our being really wants to express. And I know that can sound so airy-fairy, like, oh, it's all love and light. Well, yeah, it actually is. But I'm not saying that the darkness isn't there and valid. Of course it's there and valid. But it's also there to teach us something, to tell us something. And yeah, this curiosity just gives us that invitation, that permission slip to figure out, like, how can we make this darkness into light? So, feeling back into what it is that you wanted on the last video, how it landed for you, any ahas you had, any moments of realization, what you now know or knew, and what you noticed from feeling into that future situation where you have what you want. Like, what came up for you? I would love to know. If you are willing to share it in the comments, please do. If you only like to do it privately, you can reach out to me on Instagram, DM me at Crystal Clear Coaching. It's spelt on my handle here with an EL at the end of Crystal. Yeah, there is So much we can learn from really feeling into what we want actually would feel like. You may have felt into it and realized, I don't know that I actually want this that much. Okay. Good to notice. Okay, so maybe I don't actually want to do all the work I need to do to create an action plan to make this happen. Good to notice. But maybe that's actually a weight off your chest. I can actually focus my attentions on something else, something that does light me up and excites me. And maybe you're still figuring out what that is, but maybe what you want is just to figure out what that is. And that's okay. It can be wherever you are at this stage. It's all okay. There's no way you need to be faster. I just am very grateful that you are willing to look for yourself. And if you felt into it and it felt freaking amazing and you've never felt so lit up and it just feels so right, and now you can see your path forward, you can see what was in your way, but you feel like, I can totally jump over that, or I can clear that, I can dissolve that, then the magic has hit you, my friend. So I did mention briefly at the end of yesterday's video, if you felt called to start creating a measurable, time-bound action plan as to how you're going to make that dream come true. So if you haven't done that already, I gently remind you and invite you to do so. I do recommend actually journaling for this one, like pen and paper. There's just something about pen and paper that just goes in your brain more than typing it out. But if that's how you do things, feel free to type it out. If that's maybe, or you've got all the resources you've got in front of you right now, all good. Whatever way you need to do it, maybe you want to voice note yourself. Just don't leave it in the graveyard of voice notes that you never listen to again. Find a way to make it something that you are putting into action in your calendar in whatever way suits your lifestyle and your capacity. And we're always just re-checking in with the SMART goals. So like specific, measurable, achievable, relevant to what you want at your core, your heart. So what's aligned with you. I mean, I feel like relevant for me is really just being aligned. What I'm talking about here is you tuning into you and what's at your best and highest. So it might be different if you're working on a group project for work and maybe it's not that exciting to you, but you need to make sure it's relevant for whatever project you're all working on. So SMART goals, it depends what area you're looking in as to how it hits for you. And then T, time bound. That's how we can kind of paint the time that we're in, plan the time that we're in. And maybe everything won't necessarily go to plan, but if we have a structure, a plan set up for ourselves, then we can plan to flow around it. So, I just invite you to do that for yourself. If you've got 5 or 10 minutes just now, just decide what you want to commit to. What's your action plan? What's it look like? If your capacity is quite low right now, make it super minimal if you need to. If your capacity actually, you've got a bit of space, well, I would still suggest, be ambitious. If you know that you're ready to show up for it, fantastic. But maybe just make it smaller morsels for now so that you can just start walking that path. And as you walk that path, momentum will build. And maybe you'll find, I can totally take on more than this. I can do this faster. And you'll get there faster. And that's great. But just make a plan now that doesn't overwhelm your system and your feelings so that you're on a way to having what you want created into your reality. And have it actually be your life. Your actual day-to-day life. Those magic moments that you look back on in your older years and just be so grateful that you had the courage to step up that version of yourself and create that for yourself. Right. If anyone has any questions as to how that landed for them, please do comment or reach out. Ideally on Instagram. You can send me a voice note on Instagram if you'd like. I will try and check them. They might go into spam, I'm not sure, but anyway, I love a voice note because I can just get so much more nuance over there. There's been a couple of comments recently and I'm just not sure any of the context, so I'm just hoping that we're all doing this with a grain of salt. You are responsible for yourself when it comes to watching these videos. There is always context behind what I'm saying, but you might not necessarily see that if you're just tuning in for one video here or there. There might be some nuance that I've missed, and I do my best to try and explain in each video, which is probably why I talk a bit much, but that's okay. But I just never want anyone to feel any kind of despair or like in a place where they really feel they need help. I'm here to uplift and inspire and lend curiosity. So if you ever feel something akin to despair or like needing help after these videos, like please do reach out, because I am still a small channel. I will do what I can to guide you where you might need to go if there's any help you needed. And hopefully you're not in that situation and you're just here to inspire yourself and up-level yourself and grow yourself, and that's wonderful. And hopefully you've caught my nuance, and but you're choosing to be coachable and be responsible for your own energy. I just care for every person that is willing to show up and watch any of my videos for themselves. It's not about me. It's just that you're willing to be here to learn, to grow. Whether you're just watching these and not doing any of it, you're still curious enough that you know there's some part of you that wants a shift, a change, and that part of you I'm cheering on and encouraging, and I want to inspire. So yeah, what if there's ever any like huge block as to why you might have a story as to why you can't show up and look at yourself in this way, look, maybe that's valid. Maybe you need to seek professional help from a therapist or you're some other professional. And I encourage that if that's what you feel you need. I am a certified life coach, but I am not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. So please be aware of that, and you're watching any of these videos with your own responsibility there. And I'm also available if you ever need a chat. So yeah. Here's to you actually reaching for your goals and being willing to be coachable for your own best and highest, my friend. I feel like there might be more nuances on this continual series to check in with tomorrow. So if anything comes up for me, I will let you know. And in tomorrow's video. But that essentially is what we came here to do today. Just please do share those ahas and you make this action plan for yourself. It's your life. You're the best person in your life. So please show up like it. Please create the life you want to be living, my friend. Okay, I'll leave you there tonight. Much love. See you tomorrow.